Hello and welcome to Hank Games, featuring not Hank. It's me, John Green, playing FIFA 11. Today I am playing Leyton Orient. We are Swindon Town. We are as always the Swindon Town Swindies. I don't know what our mascot is, but anyway, we're playing Leyton Orient, a great club with a great history that today I plan on destroying. Unfortunately, we only have one John Green in the lineup today. The other John Green is tired, and I was told that playing him would risk injury, and I don't want to hurt my beloved John Green. So in yesterday's episode, I talked to you about Red Green, my terrible dachshund, and today I'm going to answer the question, did you ever have a cat? Someone wanted me to tell stories about my cats, if I ever had one. I did have a cat. When I was a younger man, before the Yeti was in my life, I lived in Chicago in an apartment in Wicker Park with a girl. I don't recommend this, by the way. I mean, not that I don't recommend living with a girl or that I don't recommend living in Chicago or in apartments. I just don't recommend living in this particular apartment with this particular girl. So I was living in Chicago and, oh, John Green. John Green. John Green. What a great goal from regular John Green. Picking up the slack for other John Green. I'm really proud of you, buddy. Bald John Green couldn't be here today, but this John Green did great. He still says Bennett on the back of his jersey, but we know he's John Green in our hearts. So anyway, we got a cat, she and I. It was one of those things where we were trying to save our relationship, and we knew that it would be a really bad idea to have a baby, so we got a cat instead. And we got a cat, it was about, I would say it was 1999 probably at the time, and we were living in this apartment, it's important to note, was just awful. I mean, it was the kind of apartment that it literally came without a stove or a refrigerator. Have you ever see that thing where Fox News was like, these poor people, they're not so poor. 99.6% of poor people have refrigerators. Well, I was in that 0.4% of people. So anyway, we were living in this refrigeratorless. We eventually got like a dorm fridge, but we were living in this weird, tiny, miserable apartment, and we decided to get a cat. We got a cat. We named him Pants. He was a kitten when we first got him, and then in the way of cats, he became a cat. And I mean, I'm not going to say that Pants was a bad cat at all. I think Pants, oh, it must have been Stone Cold Steve Austin with goal number 2 filling in for Bald John Green. Great job, buddy. Excellent celebration as well. So we got this, don't hurt him. We got this cat, his name was Pants. He wasn't a bad cat, but he lived in a small apartment, and he for some reason, he was not like a regular cat. He yearned to roam free. I think that's the real story of Pants. Like, Pants desperately wanted Stone Cold Steve Austin making a run deep into enemy territory. Leyton Orient almost, oh, down 3-0. Oh, actually, that was John Green. Sorry, I get confused. Anyway, Stone Cold Steve Austin with another goal. Great job for him. Really proud of him. And just that's gorgeous. That's just gorgeous. Let's look at that one more time. That's just, wow. Beautiful. So, Pants, he was a little bit like a squirrel. Like, I think he was maybe part squirrel, actually. He looked a little bit like a squirrel. And then he was just always running around like a squirrel. And you know, he would hide stuff the way that squirrels do. And he was just kind of a crazy dog. I mean, cat. Anyway, so here's my story about Pants. We broke up. The girl and I, you know, and people break up, and it was brutal, and I was really struggling with depression, not like in a funny way, but in an actual way, after this breakup, and I was left with the apartment because she left the city of Chicago to to pursue her life outside of Chicago. And amid this sadness, John Green with his second goal. It's 4-0 in the first half here against Leyton Orient. We may have to find some stiffer competition. I may have to up the skill level or something. But given that I don't even know how to personalize my players, I certainly don't know how to up the skill level. Can someone tell me, by the way, how to get Bald John Green a mustache? Because that's something I really want him to have. So we broke up. And I was living in this apartment. I was a really miserable person, really, really struggling. And like, when you're depressed, it's difficult to do anything. It's difficult to take care of yourself, let alone another animal. And even though cats are really low maintenance and pretty much all you have to do is change their litter box, I found myself really having a tough time, like even changing his litter box. And so eventually, this girl and I, we had to have a conversation about what was going to happen to Pants. And it was sort of mutually agreed upon that like the only real solution was to have Pants go with her. And so she took Pants, and then shortly thereafter she got married to a different boy. Definitionally, it was to a different person. I haven't been like hiding a divorce from you, Lo, these many years. So she got married, and then I was kind of bummed out that she met this boy really quickly, and they fell in love, and obviously their relationship was a lot stronger than ours ever was, and it was tough. And so to cope, I wrote a picture book called "Pants Has a New Daddy." That was all about. It was sort of about like breakups and 5-0 Stone Cold Steve Austin with his hat trick here in the 44th minute. We're on pace to win by 10. Yeah, so it was called Pants Has a New Daddy, and it was all about Pants going to his new house with his new father and finding out that his new father wasn't nearly as cool as his old dad, and then eventually he runs away and goes and lives with his old dad, which of course would have been a disaster because I was depressed and totally unqualified to take care of a cat, as previously noted. But it was it's hard to cope when you have those big life-changing breakups. I remember when right when we broke up, I was it was just it was a hard time in my life, not only because of the breakup of that relationship, offsides, but also because it was in those first few years after college, which I've talked about in Blog Brothers videos before, which I just think are brutally difficult for a lot of different reasons. I mean, you're coping with the real world for the first time. You're in a new place. A lot of times, you don't have a lot of friends. Your support network isn't what it used to be. So, it was just, what a great goal. Sorry, can I just watch some highlights real quick? I mean, this is great stuff. Boom, Stone Cold Steve Austin with his second goal, and then a nice breakaway. It's just good stuff. Here we are going into the second half. We're up 5-0 on Leyton Orient. The Leyton Orient fans are embarrassed. They're making a substitution in a desperate attempt to slow down the insane wrath that is the Swindon Town Swifties, or the Swindon Town Swindlers. You guys need to come up with a mascot for Swindon Town. It doesn't have to be the actual mascot. It should be what you think it should be, and then just tell me, and then we'll make that the mascot. Oh, we almost gave up a goal. Could the second half be a different story? No. I'm going to try a long pass. These always work. It actually, no, it didn't work. So it was just that's a hard time of life. And I remember after we broke up, my mom said to me, "You'll look back on this and say that think it was one of the best things that ever happened to you." Because it wasn't it wasn't a marriage. It was a serious relationship, but it wasn't a marriage, and we didn't have kids. So when things that's a lot easier. I don't mean panic. I don't want it. I don't want to replay. I just want to play my game. Yeah, there we go, Mr. Lucas, my goalkeeper who appears to weigh 375 pounds. But she said, "You'll look back on this and say this was the best thing that ever happened to you." And I was like, well, maybe later, but certainly not now. Now it's not the best thing that ever happened to me at all. It's a terrible, terrible thing. And I think it's really unhelpful to have people, I mean, I love my mom, and she's a great mom, but I just don't think, it really helps to know that, someday this will be better. I mean, you never say that to people when it's just, the truth is that it was a good thing in the end for both of us. I mean, it was a good thing for her too. She has a great life now and very successful and loads of kids, and they're all super cute. And I couldn't be happier for her, and everything worked out wonderfully. But at the time, it's just brutal. Off the post, Steve Austin. I expect better from you. So, by the way, it's Steve with a C, in case you're wondering why I keep calling him Steve Austin. So, also I made up his name. The other thing about Pants, though, so for years I wondered, what happened to Pants? Did she keep Pants? Did she eventually have to give Pants away? And this young woman and I weren't in touch for a variety of reasons, but mostly because it was a painful breakup, and I think it's weird when you stay friends with your exes into adulthood when you have like kids and you're married and stuff. I just think it's kind of weird and unhealthy. That's just my personal opinion. It's not like a scientific fact or anything. Um, and I don't care if like Sarah talks to her exes. I just for me because I just think it's weird. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is that I had always wondered what happened to Pants and like does he have had he had a good life and everything. And then I heard from her a couple years ago. I got a really nice email from her about a friend of ours. Oh, Steve Austin. He just scored his fourth goal. Steve with a C. Great job, Stevie C. So I heard from her, and the first thing I said in my email back was, "What happened to Pants?" And she wrote, and she said, "Pants is great." So Pants is still alive, and he's still a cat, and he still lives with my ex-girlfriend. I think they live in Alabama now, and I don't actually know where they live. Don't give up a goal. That's great stuff. Great stuff. 375-pound goalkeeper. So they live anyway. I think they live in Alabama, but I'm not positive. And yeah, and Pants is still alive, and she told me a hilarious story, which was that her oldest son loves the cat, but Pants is always sort of, I wouldn't say that he hates humans, but he's certainly very suspicious of them. And she she tells a story. She told a story about her oldest son coming to her and saying, "Mommy, I want to hold Kitty," and and so she said, "Well, then just give him a hug." And then the kid says, "But mommy, don't want to get hurt." And that's pretty much my experience with Pants too, which is that I always oh god, oh no, disaster. Great stuff. 375-pound Lucas, you are a big fella right there in the mouth of the goal. Turn it around. How is that offside? Oh, it wasn't offsides. Okay. I'm not playing as well as I can because I'm in a nostalgic fit for Pants. I could have won this game 10-0, and I just I lost focus, so I started thinking about Pants. He's such a cute little cat. He is such a cute little cat because he's still out there doing Pants stuff, not liking people. Remember my grandmother visited our apartment once, and she was duly horrified. And about Pants, she said, "Oh, come on." About Pants, she said she said, "I think he's part raccoon." I myself think he was part squirrel, but my grandmother thought he was part raccoon. This was the same grandmother who coined the term "scootily pooping" to describe making out. Like she would always. She did not approve of me living with this young woman, of course. So she would always say, "Y'all just hang out there and scootily poop." So there we go! Stone Cold Steve Austin with 4 of the 6 goals. The other 2 scored by John Green. And there's a great celebration at Swindon Town as they defeat Leyton Orient 6-0 thanks to some great goalkeeping by the 375-pound Lucas. So congratulations again to Swindon Town, my beloved Swindon Town. The Swifties, the Swindlers, the Swoopity Swoops. You guys decide. Also, give me suggestions for what I should tell you stories about in the next episode of Hank Games, not featuring Hank, in which John plays FIFA 11 and takes Swindon Town to the top of the Premier League. So, thank you for watching. You will not see me and I will not see you, but, we will reconnect here in the near future. Best wishes!